Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here with Roofing Webmasters.
Howdy. I almost missed my cue.
Today's is bold roofing SEO predictions for 2023 and how to prepare. So, lot of changes.
A lot of stuff going down. Just in the past, that we're in February of 2023 as we record today. And the past 3 months, especially the past month, have been just wild.
They've been fine for us as normal. We've been doing things good, but a lot of stuff. So one of the predictions is a lot of disgruntled people out there.
Yeah.
Their websites quit working actually back towards the end of 2022 because of the Google Helpful Content Update.
Yeah.
And as they continue to change that, and as I call it, turn up the burner.
Yeah, cranking it.
They crank it up, and you got crappy content on your website, which is content written for Google, not for the user.
Right.
I'll define this a little more. If you have over 100 pages on your roofing site and you have a lot of crappy blogs, you're having problems right now.
And by the way, the definition of crappy blog, if you have 100 blogs, they're crappy blogs.
They're crappy blogs.
It's incredibly unlikely that you have a bunch of good blogs.
We'll go over AI, confusion, penalized sites, BS SEO sales, Goldilocks zone, and data pins. But one thing that's interesting about this Google Helpful Content Update affecting people this year, it was a lot of people speculate just a prelude to get ready for the onslaught of the things that are going to change with AI in 2023. So in case anybody doesn't know, there's artificial intelligence being inputted into search as client
being integrated into. We went from having a thing called ChatGPT being a weird little plaything toward the end of 2022 to Microsoft buying out
10 billion
buying out the rights to a branch of that, integrated into Bing in less than 2 weeks, and suddenly Bing, after being moribund and ignored for a decade, suddenly becoming buzzworthy.
It was significant enough for me to stop saying Google as like a verb. Like I just don't say Google anymore. I say search engine again. It was so disruptive potentially.
Yeah. I've been doing the same thing. I've been saying search engine results instead of Google results.
Instead of Google results, or Google it won't even be a term potentially. It doesn't mean Google won't be significant in 10 years.
Right. They just won't have a monopoly.
They won't have a monopoly on it. Like,
maybe.
Yeah. I think people finally quit saying I need chapstick. Right.
Need lip balm.
It took a long time.
Yeah, a really long
Or a Q-tip instead of a swab. You don't like use it, but to Google it.
I still say Kleenex.
Do you?
Yeah.
I still say Coke, or like if I was like a soft drink.
Well, this is
soda.
Texas.
Yeah.
It's every soda is a Coke.
Yeah. So
what kind of Coke do you want? A Dr. Pepper.
It's been so long since I've seen tons of sites penalized for content. Like lots of. Now, normally, it took after Panda, people kind of quit spamming the hell out of Google. But this new thing started where the sites got a little big and everybody's like, well, and clients wanted to see blogging.
And it worked. And that's the thing, it worked.
And it worked. So if you had like a 75-page site, an 80, 100-page site, 150-page, even a 200 or 300-page site, if you're a roofer, if you're a contractor, that's almost always going to be blogging. The blogging was written 5 reasons to check your house after a hailstorm in Dallas, Texas. Or 3 things to look out for picking the best roofing contractor in Denver, CO.
Yeah.
So and even if it's not quite that, they're all blatantly obvious attempts to throw keywords into content page, into a blog, to throw it, lob it up to Google and hope to get a click. But here's a way that I described it to someone, because they're like, they were offended slightly because they'd worked hard on getting these 150 crappy blogs. Yeah. I said, okay, look at it this way. You go to a dinner party, or you go have family reunion. There's gossip, there's life, there's death, there's new life. There's babies. Uncle, Joe did something weird, and there's stories to tell. And then you come with your 100 blogs and you lay them down on a coffee table, and they're all stapled. And everybody's got, you can go, play cornhole or this or that or horseshoe or here, and may talk about some weird bullshit. And like everybody's crowd around doing stuff, but you've got 100 blogs to read. come on over to my table and let's read some of my crappy blogs. Like nobody would come hang out with you.
Nobody wants to spend the time.
Nobody wants. So I was like, if they can't pass that test, you have crappy blogs. Everybody has crappy blogs. And now those crappy blogs are literally causing sites to do poorly. And I've gotten so many calls. In fact, we picked up tons of customers. We're having to like strip pages out of sites again, over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's not that
we've got people coming in and, I've got a 300-page site. Well, we're going to kill all but 50 of those. And if you had asked us 5 years ago, we wouldn't have done that for any amount of money.
No.
We would have been terrified to do that.
Content's not bad, but bad content's bad.
Right.
So it's too little content's bad, too much content's bad, bad content's bad. But they need to know your services. You still need a TPO page if you do TPO. You won't show up. You need a roof estimate page if you do estimates. You're only going to show up for primary keywords. You're going to lose tons of stuff. You still need content, but everybody's given crappy content.
Right.
So
Google does not need another 800-word description of TPO to know what it is or to know that you do it. You just need to say, we do this, and then you use relevant content like data pins to demonstrate you actually doing it.
So actually having technical content, we have a software tool called Data Pins, DATAPINS, that allows a technical perspective on site location, and it's a different way of speaking about stuff that's actually relevant to what people search, and validates the work that's done. So that type of content's phenomenal.
Yeah.
When people just throw in a cruddy blog or throw in another page of trash, they do need at least a page so that they know you perform the service. If you don't have that, you're not going to show up for it. It is the validation to show up. You just can't have bad content. Blogging's bad content.
Right.
You might have a few. If you had
it's possible.
If you had 100 blogs, there might be 3 or 4 good ones.
Yeah, we've actually gone through sites and picked out like 5 or less and said, okay, we'll keep these and the rest of it goes away.
Yeah, so to expand on that, just if you have this particular problem, we'll get off on another topic real quick, but if you have this problem, our staff will literally go through the 150 pages, see if any of them even get searched. Worse yet, if you really are flagrant, they will have already uncached other pages that are stuck dead in your server. They're navigatable through your site, but Google hates them so much they didn't even make a copy of it.
Yeah.
So
and if they don't have a copy of it, they will never show it in search if they haven't put it in their database.
So they'll remove all those pages, 301, redirect it back to the home page. The algorithmic penalties that you have will begin to alleviate within about 60 days.
Yeah.
And then add that to other good quality services, and you'll begin to show up ranking. Nolen Walker here for Roofers Paradise. Thank you for checking out our podcast here for Roofing Webmasters, where we talk about nothing but marketing. But I'd love for you to check out Roofers Paradise, where I personally interview and talk with roofers. We talk about their successes, their failures, their dreams, their goals and ambitions. It's a great podcast where we actually speak to roofers. Love to have you check out Roofers Paradise. You can find us on YouTube by searching Roofers Paradise. Any platform for podcasts, search Roofers Paradise. Be sure to subscribe, or you can actually go to roofersparadise.show. Look forward to having you over at Roofers Paradise. All right, let's go to the next one. A lot of people, this is a perfect one on that, are going to get confused and give up.
Yeah.
We had somebody just crazy, really, want to do, we don't need to say who it is or even, but they wanted to do traditional SEO.
Recently.
Yeah,
they called
confused.
They were confused and despairing and said, we just want to do traditional SEO.
That's laughable.
Yeah. And I was like, what does that even mean? SEO, how do you have traditional something that's only existed for 20 years?
All the time.
And it's not like, and it changes so radically that the old stuff doesn't work and all that. And I tried to talk to them that, well, what you're talking about doing simply doesn't work anymore. It will fail.
Right.
And they were just so kind of beat down by changes and everything else you have to do. They were essentially giving up.
Giving up and letting someone else throw in links out of the country.
Yeah.
Add blogs.
Yeah, do like blogging and
so they had to do so they didn't have to do a pin or get a review, so they could do nothing. And so they sent in trash signaling from developing countries. Yeah. Now, I mean, it's just, I had a call literally today. I almost didn't call. The lead came in and said, found you online, would like to get you to make some links for me for my SEO. I called the guy up and I said, hey, and it's like, this is Nolen with Roofing Webmaster. I said, oh, hey, Nolen, I'm looking to get links to my website. And I'm like, well, we might do that if you have less than a 10 domain authority, but we don't just send a links. And he said, oh, you don't do it? I said, not necessarily. And he's like, oh, okay. And he was kind of confident and like, you know, like, I'm like, now we do better than what you asked for purposes of showing up in search rankings. We just don't necessarily do links the way you asked. I said, and I'm the owner here and pretty knowledgeable if you'd like to listen to the proper way to have this happen. And I paused. He said, sure, I'll listen to you. I said, good choice, good answer. And then I said, so you can't just slam links in out of the country and do stuff like that, because those aren't the algorithmic signaling that they want to see. They want to see digital branded signaling in a myriad of ways that helps them feel comfortable with your experience, expertise, authority, and trust of your brand, and then you'll deserve to show up in rankings. Things like data pins, things like proper web content setup. I said, can I take a look at your website? And he said, well, we have several. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Those are triggering words for me. And when someone says that, it means that they're kind of spamming Google. They're pretty smart nowadays with the AI and everything. And they probably already daisy chained you. And so I'd like to see the primary website. He said, well, we've really gone down to this one. I said, okay, good move. So we would deal with one website because we're not trying to trick Google and add a bunch of. He said, well, we bought some companies. I said, all right, well, fair enough. But he listened and went forward. And I said, listen, I know, I appreciate you. I know I gave you some stuff different than you thought you were going to get. I said, but we don't do piecemeal work like somebody off of Fiverr or Freelancer or Upwork. I said, you can have that stuff done, but understand that it won't equal what you want. What you want is professional services, that of which like a law firm or an accounting firm, and you want those deployed so that the digital signaling gets perceived by Google as experience, expertise, authority, and trust, and then you deserve to show up in search rankings. You're not going to do that by slamming links in from developing nations and getting somebody to work off of Fiverr for $10.
Yeah.
So I said, do you understand? He said, yeah. I said, so you need a properly structured setup. And I said, it can be done still, and it works just fine. So I think that people get confused about what's out there. And
I've got one too.
Yeah.
I got a call yesterday from a client currently in production, currently being worked on, will be launching soon.
Yeah.
He tells me that his daughter came over with a friend of hers, and her friend, college student, smart girl, says she knows a little bit about this stuff, so she looked at my current site.
Oh, you had to deal with this?
Yeah. I literally had this conversation yesterday. And so and he was like, she looked at my current site and what's being done on that. She was talking about backlinking and how important this and that. And a lot of the stuff he was saying was like absolutely just made up. Like stuff I'd never heard before and was completely irrelevant. And it was all backlinking related. There was nothing else going on. And I said, well, Bob, name change to protect the innocent and the guilty. I'm like, I got to tell you, I've never heard anything like that. And here's how linking really works.
Right.
And I said, and no shade to your daughter or her friend, but I'm a professional who's been doing this for 25 years. And I will stack us up against any college student you can throw up at. And he's like, Jason, that's why I like you guys. You tell it like this. It's like, okay, good. But he had a moment of confusion.
Well, you can't blame us for that. Like, I mean, we're always tell everybody. Somebody's like, well, how do I know? I was like, well, we're month to month. I said, I'm not stupid. I'm going to fight hard to keep your money each month. Like, that's what we
have to work at it.
We have to do it. But at the same time, like, a roofer or somebody it doesn't happen in other industries the way it happens in ours.
Yeah.
People, now every once in a while, some old bastard gets off on the roof with them and starts calling shots. And they get like livid. Like, get off my roof, like. So somebody comes up and it's rough to deal with it. It's no different with us, except for some reason people will make statements to us like all the time, like, well, I could do this myself, but I just don't have time.
Well, you've been a lawyer for 25 years, but my niece is a law student, and she's...
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Or, like, imagine somebody getting on the roof and say, well, I was going to call Home Depot and wrangle up some fellas to jump in the back of my truck and handle this on my own. You know, down there in the corner where they jump in the back of your truck. But I figured I'd call you and let you do it, and let, feed the economy a little bit. Right? People don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, to this guy's credit,
yeah,
he listened to me.
Right.
But he had that moment of confusion because this person sat down. Now, I don't even think this girl he was talking to, I think she was legitimately trying to help him.
Right.
She's learning stuff in school, doesn't know the latest thing, because by definition, if you're learning it in school, your knowledge is minimum 5 years out of date, probably more like 10. And that's not her fault. That's just SEO changes too fast for schools to update. But he listened, but he got confused because
everything but math.
Because he had also read articles online talking about backlinking and all this, and I was like, what was the date on those articles? I said, here's the problem.
Yeah.
The article telling you how to do the best SEO possible, that when it was written in 2010 was 100% right, is now 100% wrong, but you can still find it online.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, we still have stuff. I mean, in fact, I got the call for the linking because we had an article up about it, by the way.
Yeah. An old article that we forgot.
I'm not going to take it down because we got a phone call.
Well, you got a phone call and you flipped them. So, hey.
There you go. Well, we're not
you unconfused them.
Nolen Walker here for DataPens. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called DataPens, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapens.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by DataPens, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords, and remember those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out DataPens. I think you'll be happy you did.
All right, so yeah, and fair enough. And seriously, with the people out there, yeah, it's confusing. And our industry is a little bit more confusing than most. It's just that with the onset of AI integration, it's going to get even more confusing. But it doesn't change the fact. It's just, for now, it's just a client assisting tool to get information that might lob that information up a little faster in a little different way, or find some nuances of information that's really hard to get, like how to API into a certain piece of software.
Yeah.
Without having to henpeck around for it for a day or two or a week, or calling people to ask. It'll just get it. But it's not going to change the online stuff or the signaling for the local contractor at this point in time, and you can still get up in ranking, and you still need help for that. We're just dotting I's and crossing T's on a professional basis, and we happen to have some really nifty tools, things like DataPens and stuff that we've really worked hard on, to help people
to address exactly these issues.
And they can sail right forward and go forward. I had a call with a guy too. Speaking of the confusion, I want to wrap this up, but he was a guy that used to have 15 trucks on the road, and why I guess he had just gotten past his prime. He used to have 15 trucks on the road, different. It's not a roofer. But he had 15 trucks on the road. I think he was an HVAC guy. And every time I call him, he talked to me about why his ads don't work, paid ads. I'm not going to mention a name. Just say the word ads. He mentioned why his paid ads don't work. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to I'm not here to help you pay that. I said, well, and we talked a little bit. He's like, well, I want to help with this. I said, I can help with the lion's share of the clicks. The Google map rank, Google map rank.
What's funny is I spent the last 2 years training myself to say Google ads instead of PPC, and now I'm going to have to start saying PPC again.
No, now you can just paid ads. Paid ads. Yeah. So anyway, we help with your map ranking, with your organic ranking. Over 70% of people going to that. Most people still going to Google or search engine to search for stuff. And I can help you with that. And he said, yeah, back when we were up and ranking at 15 trucks, phone rang every 3 to 4 minutes. Wouldn't stop talking about the paid. I said, your website, this is a guy that had website saturation. I said, you had the word Phoenix and your one page I'm looking at 18 times. It's old school keyword stuffing spam. And it needs to be.
And when you did it, it worked great, but it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. And like, why do we keep talking about this other stuff when you could fix this? You still have authority and trust. You just need to fix your content and SEO overhaul it, and then start adding proper new content into the same pages with data pins.
Right.
And once that occurs, this will fix. I'm not talking about your paid. Nobody likes the paid because it costs so much.
Right.
You know.
But that's heartbreaking because that guy. We talk about the big show all the time, and we talk about people having experience that he did.
I called him twice,
and then he retreated from it.
I didn't respect myself enough not to call the second time, but I did to call the third time because I just got railed on like what the good old days, and they didn't want to say anything. All right, so I think there's going to be a lot of bullshit sales going on.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of SEOs are going to be calling.
You're going to get a lot of people saying AI is coming. You got to make these changes and be ready for it, and it's 100% horse shit.
It'll be complete horse crap, and yeah. So just be careful out there as usual. If you're watching the two of us, you're really honing in on what it takes to do things as normal as usual. 99% of your peers are doing a horrific job.
Right.
They do dream up, false narratives on what happens with how people show up in ranking. And then they correspondingly give up or are so erratic with their digital branded signaling that they don't compete. And all that means is you need to put forth great digital branded signaling, not break the rules, have good quality content that's written for the user, and then put forth as many signals as you can, like digital hand raises with data pins, like photos going up, unique captions, updates, making sure the content isn't old or overdone or underdone, and you have that sort of professional stuff coming out to them, and you'll do great in ranking. And it takes a little bit, but it doesn't take much. Like we had two people sign up today.
Yep.
Had a guy sign up that was new. He's a roofer that was a sub, and I told him very directly, and that when I first started this 13 and a half years ago, and the roofers know what I'm talking about, subs didn't do their own business. They didn't get into the business. They worked for the guy who owned the business. But subs are starting to start their own business.
Starting to promote themselves.
Started seeing us about 5 to 6 years ago, maybe 7, 8, but not right when we started. So this guy's coming up. The thing that he doesn't have, now he's got everybody beat on management of crews, knowing how installation processes are supposed to go, roofing systems. He damn well knows how to install a roof, but he had come to the realization that he didn't know how to market. And he came to us to market. He's a great guy, great new client, and he understands it well. All he has to do to beat those old dogs, and he's in he's one of the best areas in the country, really. Cool. He's out of Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Good area. And but he's a little newer, but he'll beat him. All he's got to do is get us set up and signal properly. Right. Move from 5 reviews to 10 to 20, and begin to pin and see Google sees every job, digital signaling. We will check on domain authority with him, by the way.
Because he's brand new.
Because he's newer. We need a 10 domain authority. Doesn't mean we slam links in out of third world countries nonstop.
No, don't do any of that.
Because you'll get penalized, just like crappy content. By the way, I had somebody the other day talk to said, "Oh, well, he's writing AI content." Had somebody paying $6,000 a month. I said, "You want to really be pissed off?"
He was paying somebody $6,000 a month.
This is a different one.
To hit a button.
He had copyscape content. It was copyscape content.
Oh, it was just straight up copy paste.
Well, he was doing a full-fledged, ads and everything else. All that kind of stuff. I think he signed up. I don't remember.
Really?
I mean, if he didn't,
I hope so.
It'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, if someone by the way, guys, if someone calls you trying to sell you AI-generated content that's the wave of the future,
it's a
be
penalty.
aware that AI-generated content is a penalty, number one. Be aware, second, that the person trying to sell you that has signed up on a service like ChatGPT and is paying $50 a month to use it. And if they're turning around and charging you $1,000 for articles, they're basically going to ChatGPT, which they pay a small amount of money for, and saying, write me an 800-word article on this subject.
Yeah.
And then that's the sum total of their work. So do not pay for it. It's bad, it's a penalty, and you're getting ripped off all at once.
It's another thing that people are going to be doing. They're going to be getting online. Everybody calls us, look, I need content. I had a guy today optimize my landing pages. I was like, what does that mean? Can you explain that? And he did it, but it's like, but anyway, they're going to be getting on. There's going to be massive amounts of crap content coming out. People getting their sites banned, and they're not going to be nice about it in the age of AI.
No.
You slam a few links out of India, they may not penalize you. They can tell. But you start slamming AI and copied content crud on and start throwing it on because you think that's what SEO is, and you're going to jack your whole site.
Yeah. And some other guys are going to call you and just say, well, we can write you a ton of blogs. They may not tell you it's AI, but if they're telling you they're going to write you a blog every day and the price isn't like astronomical, they're using AI because to create content, you got two options. You can use people out of the Philippines, which when you read that, you'll know it.
Yeah.
You can use AI, or you can pay native speakers of American English, and all of a sudden you're paying a crap ton of money for it.
It costs more money.
Nolen Walker here for Roofing Webmasters. I want you to consider becoming one of our clients. We've done this for 12 years, have hundreds of clients. We help everybody with their design, their code, their content, showing up on Google as high as possible. Clients get regular call volume. If you've never experienced what I call the big show, showing up on Google organically, which is where the vast majority of the clicks occur, on your map, your reputation, your reviews, your organic keyword ranking, you owe it to yourself to try us. We even have proprietary software that we own called data pens that lets you post pictures of jobs, unique captions that increase keywords and long tail keywords, your rankings on Google, text and emailing clients about reviews, even posting pins and photos and captions back to Google. All this helps your organic rankings. Data pens is fantastic, and the work we do here at Roofing Webmasters is fantastic. Please give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.
Speaking of money again, we're a great deal and stuff, but I had a guy, do you remember the guy a while back? We never saw this guy if he had 800 pages.
Oh, yes.
For $2.99 a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, 800 pages? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, 800 pages.
Check me out.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's a lot of content. I said, this guy wrote all that. I'm sorry, $2.99 at one time.
Oh, that's right. He was a one-time $300 fee.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow. I said, wow, that's a lot of content. I mean, if anybody ever, I was being sarcastic, kind of screwing with him. It's like, where does he live? Does he live out no, he's out of Dallas. I said, under a bridge? and he's like, no. I said, does he eat ramen noodles for every meal? And he's like, if he does, he's eating them dry out of the package because you don't even pay him enough to boil them. Yeah, I started laughing. I said, look, man, I said, can you fathom how long it would take to write 800 pages? I said, do you think that the 800 pages is custom unique content? He said, well, he told me it was. I said, is that reasonable? And he's like, I said, can we stop and pause and think about 800 pages? 800 Yeah, and I was like,
a novel is a big novel.
He said, well, he's not done yet. And I'm like,
So he had 800 pages, but he wasn't.
They were
going to do more.
They were like shelled out. And there was more coming, and I was like, "You're literally spamming the hell out of Google." He said, "Well, he said he's going to do this." I said, "This poor guy," and I was like, "Shame on you for doing this." This poor man living in Dallas. But anyway, yeah. So you do have to be kind of careful. There is, I guess, for the business owner, for the roofer, you're going to have to pay something to get some help in all this. It is a bit. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you have to make it. You have to. We just call it the Goldilocks zone. You've got to have all your base stuff set up. It's got to be done right, and there's a lot of confusion.
Don't pay for labor. Pay for expertise.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying for labor, it's probably busy work, and it's probably not going to help you. You need to pay for expertise. You need to pay for people who know what they're doing.
Yeah,
like us.
We call some people, but we're less expensive than anybody out there. I don't know anybody that does there isn't anyone that does what we do because they don't own data pens. They don't own all this stuff. They haven't done it for that long. I mean, we can pick apart sites and help you and tell you things that you never knew. I had a guy yesterday on the phone that was a guy paying $6,000, and he would say, "Well, Nolen, what do you think about this?" And he'd say one statement. He said, "Well, I pay $6,000 a month to do everything." And I'll be like, and he'd ask one question. I'll be like, okay. I said, "Okay, I'm sorry. It's just the one statement has a lot of back information on it." I said, "So I've done this for 13 and a half years. Somebody pays $6,000. I said, "Hopefully I heard paid in there that it's not black box billed. Black box billed means you pay them the whole $6,000. I've done this for 13 and a half years. I've heard literally thousands of times people say, "Well, I'm not getting leads. I call, complain, I get leads, and 3 weeks later I quit getting leads. I call, complain, I get leads again." I said, "They're obviously spending more of your paid money when you're threatening to leave." And he's like, "Oh God, no," and that's exactly what happens. And I'm like,
I hate to laugh because I feel sorry.
Yeah, but he didn't even say. I didn't even tell him. Like, he didn't ask about it. I said, and I said, "By the way, why are you spending so much money on paid in the middle of February? Because it's off season. You're not going to get the conversion rate." He's like, "No one's saying this to me." I said, "Well, they're jacking you. They want your money." And that's the guy that had the copied content. I said, "You have copied content. Go to copyscape.com, take your repair page, drop it in there, and it's the same exact to this other website." I said, "If you really want to be mad about it, go look at this stuff here."
Yeah.
And I was like, and we went through tons of stuff. I said, "Your website isn't even set up to optimize." And then they're taking your money. I said, "You're probably getting a third-party reporting about your Google ads." I said, "You should have paid transparent billing, put it up, and if you had paid transparently, they would have charged you $500 or $1,000 a month, and you would have seen the debits come straight off of your debit."
You know where each dollar is going. Just to clarify, we have made the point before, but I want to clarify a little bit about the black box billing. If you're getting that, someone's charging you $6,000 a month, you don't know particularly where each dollar is going to what service. What they're often doing is
majority doing.
I'm being nice.
No, you're
right though. It is majority of the time. They're putting up a really basic site, usually with copied content. They're tweaking and spending a small amount on paid ads to get you the amount of clicks that they find will keep you on the hook. And they're keeping the rest. As much as 75% is what you're paying. That's often their goal.
So they might the industry standard to take 50% on black box.
Yeah, 50's like the minimum.
And what Jason says doesn't sound real, but if they do get any organic, which is usually ass bag falling into a ranking on a map, and they're watching and tracking your calls. And they see that peck up, they're going to take more of your money and put it in their pocket to the point that they might take all $6,000 someday.
If someday they by accident optimize organically, they'll just keep it all. But then if you call and say, "Hey, my leads have gone down, what's up?" and say, we'll look into that right now.
So this guy,
and they'll go and they'll crank the paid back up and keep a little less of it for a few weeks. You'll get a few more leads, and you'll be just happy enough or just not mad enough to call back and complain anymore.
He had signed up for Google Guaranteed, and he would call and say, "Hey, why aren't I showing up there?" I said, "Oh, we're focusing. We've got that set up. I don't know why it's set up. We're focusing over here." Well, they weren't they weren't authorized from our premier partner to handle the Google guarantee. They weren't getting paid on it. So every time they diverted that question and then went back over to the ads, as Google guarantee wasn't even working, but they didn't realize that they weren't authorized to to manage it for him and want to, because there's no financial incentive for it.
Yeah.
So and that's going on for like months and months and months at like 6K.
Jeez.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, guys. It is confusing out there. And by the way, I like to make sense of this for people. Everyone's situation's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We will break down your situation, look at your website, tell you where it is. I answer questions all the time, how long it'll take to get up and ranking based upon your authority and trust. Your experience and expertise probably hasn't been portrayed through the website yet, right? We help
you probably haven't established that.
And then we will help authority and trust through other factors and data pens and reviews, pens and stuff. But based upon where your authority and trust is today, and we can give you really pretty accurately how long it's going to take you to begin to get successful after stuff is fixed up.
Right.
So don't be do prepare for it, but not a lot's changed. More confusion for sure.
Yeah, more confusion. I mean, stuff has changed, but AI in search
that stuff has changed,
isn't affecting local search for services yet.
Nothing's changed for what we do.
Yeah.
Like we've been providing proper content structuring and setup.
Yeah.
Before the helpful content update.
Way ahead of the curve.
Right.
The helpful content update actually made data pins more relevant and actually helped our clients rank better than they were before it went
Just
in.
began to penalize useless and bad content.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, like and subscribe. Jason and I would love to help you out. Please give us a call, and we'll see you on the next show here.
Take it easy.